Hi, this video is for teacher education candidates who are freshmen, sophomores, and juniors who are looking to build a resume and a cover letter. These are the two documents that you will use when you begin applying for positions in school. And I've noticed that a lot of students kind of tend to wait till their junior, senior year until they create one of these, which I don't think is actually the best course of action. I think it's really good to make one really your first year in a teacher education program. So I want to kind of walk you through the steps and how to do it because these are, again, the two documents that should grow with time. They should change, they should adapt, and they should motivate you to become the best teacher education candidate that you can be. So the first thing I've noticed a lot of people do when they create a resume is they often go online because there's lots of templates you can use. And this is okay, this is fine. By the way, for notes, there is no one way to create a resume or a cover letter. So what I'm going to show you today is just some examples of some general guidelines that I think teacher education candidates should keep in mind as they do craft a resume. This video is just going to be a resume. I'll make another one later about what a cover letter is. In short, a resume is a one-page snapshot of who you are as an educator, and a cover letter is a one-page document saying why you would be a good fit for the school. So you can use an online template, but they seem kind of not really universal, but this one's flashy. It's got the person's picture, but I actually think this is a waste of space because they're already going to Google you, so they'll know what you look like anyway. So I don't think you actually need your picture on here. It's cool. Again, it's great, but this one page needs to contain as much information about you and why you'd be a good candidate. So the other thing I know what teachers do is they're plugging in what they need into AI, and they're using that. And again, it's so cliche by now. AI is here, it's in our world right now, but there's actually a lot of danger, I think, in looking to use AI. But I'll show you how I think it can be used effectively. And I always tell my college kids that when we do this in class, you can be doing literally writing your resume while I'm writing mine up here. I'm gonna act like I was, again, a sophomore back in college as I create it. So what it says is I need a header at the top of my resume that contains this information. That's absolutely true. So I'm gonna insert a header. I think it's cool if you stick with one font, maybe for your cover letter and your resume, that you can use pretty consistently. It should be a font that maybe that you like. It doesn't need to be just like Times New Roman. So I'm going to use Aptos because that's the font that I like. I'm going to center this. I always forget that I lose some of my tabs when I pull it all the way over. So my name front and center. I'm gonna make it a little bit larger. I'm gonna have my name be in bold, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be the only thing I have on my entire document. And I say I need my contact information, so at the time my email was asweitzer@sienaheights.edu. I'm gonna put my phone number down. Also, if you can, with your email address, try to make sure that you have something that's just your name, no numbers, nothing silly, because if there's numbers in your email, it's just might be harder for them to get it down. I need my phone number. And then it says, what else does it say I need? Professional email, my phone number, and I had a LinkedIn in school. Maybe that's your thing, maybe not. I do like the idea of having some kind of a digital footprint, because that is also one thing that they will be doing when they create your resume there and your cover letter is keep in mind they are Googling you. They want to see who you are. They want to see your social media accounts. They'll want to see that. So when you're doing this as a freshman, as a sophomore, another note is your resume will evolve with time. So keep that in mind as you're creating it. So this isn't perfect, it's not great. But then next is what I would really describe as the most difficult part, like the summary, objective, is usually a 1 to 2 sentence response that captures who you are. Like, what's your educational philosophy? And it's the most difficult thing to write. And in fact, when I do this in class, I don't really like summary. I feel like it's yelling at me if I do all caps. Summary. I'm going to put it down and underlined. Or sometimes this is objective. I think objective sounds a little bit better as a younger student because you don't really have much of a track record yet. And here is the response where you need to be like, what is your objective as a young student? It's obviously to get a job, but it's what's your purpose as a teacher? What are you're giving a school your resume because you want to be a teacher? What's your mantra? What's your philosophy? I often state that this should be like a sentence that captures why you want to be an educator. And I also say that you should be doing this as a freshman because your philosophy for teaching might change over time. But I often think the objective should somehow be something about kids first and then teaching second. So, new educator looking for experiences in the classroom to work and build meaningful relationships with students that promote meaningful development. No, new relationship with students, that's fine. And I'm excited to foster a learning environment where students can see social studies as a discipline to explore a new and changing world. And I don't know if that's really great, to be totally honest, because I have to think more about it, but this should be the statement that like captures, in essence, why you want to be a teacher. And it's hard to write. I also want to make this single-spaced. And I want to get rid of any extra space because I, again, want to fill up this document. And I'm going to make this italics too. The danger, and here's where, again, I'm going to come back to the statement later on because as a freshman, I have my college, my pre-service teachers write down their objective, and I ask them periodically throughout the years, what's your objective? Has it changed? What's your objective? What experiences shaped it? What is your MO right now? So my summary says, I'm an educator with 11 years of experience teaching in middle, high school, and collegiate and international settings because I've taught a lot now. You haven't taught a lot yet. You're a young teacher, but you still want to make it authentic. And I said, committed to collectively building a teaching and learning environment that is welcoming to all while guiding students to simply be the best that they can be. So I came up with that statement. That's a mission from my university, a teaching and learning environment, and that's something I believe in adamantly. It's a place where I teach, where students teach, where I learn, where students learn. And it's something that I can defend, especially like why this is my mission statement. So this is the teaching and learning environment is like the part that, the school that I went to really promoted that. There is a huge and significant danger in using AI to create an objective statement because even if you give it as much information about you and about who you are and what you want to do as a teacher, it's going to churn out something and you might like it. So for example, like if we actually do this down here, can you write me an objective that captures who I am as an educator? I love to travel. I love working with middle school kids. And I want to teach social studies. And let's say I went as in-depth as I could on this. Here are a few strong objective statements. Aspiring 7 through 12 social studies teacher with a passion for working with middle school students and fostering curiosity about the world. Brings a global perspective through a lot of travel and is committed to creating engaging, culturally responsive classrooms that inspire critical thinking and exploration. It's a good sentence. It's a good statement. It's not real. And if I even take some of that, two things I think are going to happen. If you use AI in a copy-paste setting, number one, it robs you of coming up with the statement on your own. And the coming up with the statement on your own is the hard part. And two, it might give you a little bit of imposter syndrome, because when they do say, oh, okay, how are you going to foster that? How are you going to create a culturally responsive classroom? You might be like, oh yeah, I copied and pasted AI with that. So don't do it. I think it's a disadvantage. And that's why, when this assignment's due at 12 on a Tuesday at midnight, like, don't copy and paste and use AI just to get it done, because that could get it done in a lot faster setting, but it's robbing you of this document that you're going to need when you are applying for a position. So that's a lot about the objective. I spent the most time on that probably because that's the most difficult thing. What else, though, does AI say our resumes need? It definitely says we need our education at this point in time. So education. I'm going to put down Siena Heights University. 2013 anticipated graduation. I'm going to put where that is, Adrian, Michigan. And that's really all I have to put down. I can put down my GPA. If you have a good GPA, you can put that down. Dean's list all semesters. It's not an end-all be-all, but having a GPA is nice, but it's not super important. If you don't have a great GPA, don't put it down. So that's short. Then I'm going to put down field experience. And here's where it can get a little bit trickier. And here is where you need to tell them how much you've been in the classroom. And one of the gripes that many of my future teachers have is they're like, well, I don't have any experience yet. You do have experience, and you need to continue to build that experience. So I'm going to write down, by the time I'm a freshman in college, I'm going to write down field work or clinical hours. No, hold on. Blissfield Middle School. And this is in Blissfield, Michigan. And I'm going to put another bullet point. I'm going to write down what I did. Oopsies. Observed over 20 hours in 6th and 7th grade classrooms. Interviewed principal and vice principal. I'm going to try to use a different word. I said observed over 20 hours in 6th and 7th grade classrooms. Oh my gosh, I did that. Interviewed principal and vice principal. Worked with cooperating teachers to monitor student learning. Participated in book fair activities. Book fair activities and games. Took part in a pep rally. So there's one experience where I was, and I'm going to put down another area. I did all this by the time I was a sophomore. This isn't like a look at me, but Jackson Middle School. No, Jackson High School. This was in Jackson, Michigan. Here I developed relationships with multiple middle school students, or teachers. What else did I do? That's why also it's really important when you're writing down the field experience, make sure when you're in schools, don't just say you observed. Don't just say you watched. And don't just watch. Do as much teaching as you can. Do as much as you can with the students, with kids. So that way you can put it down on your resume. So do not be idle. Even if your teacher doesn't specifically give you something to do, try to find ways that you can help. We are always available. Another thing with your resume is they do need to be pretty spotless consistency-wise, so I just noticed that about my cell phone number. Jackson High School developed a relationship with multiple middle school teachers. Served as line judge for middle school volleyball games. Do that if you can. They'll ask you. And you want to put it down on your resume because this is you being in a school doing something. Acted as moderator for quiz bowl competitions and oversaw lunch with students during Spirit Week. And I had done all that by my sophomore year. And then one more I'm going to put down. Michener Elementary. Adrian, Michigan. So here I took part in 100-day celebrations, served as judge for hallway decoration competition, monitored students while on field trip to the Toledo Zoo, and read aloud to students during reading week. Right to read. Read week, I think that's what it's called. So these are 3 experiences that I just remember I had by the time I was a sophomore year, because it really took someone saying, Andy, get out of your comfort zone and go start doing things. If you get into a building, make sure you talk to the principal. We had a principal come speak with our students, and I asked this principal, what would you like to see in a future teacher? And she said, I want to meet with them and just talk with them. Go out of your way and talk to the principal. I know this is some guy on a YouTube video telling you to do this, but this is going to be of a huge benefit. Put yourself out there. Be in a position where you can, for Hamilton, talk less and smile more. But make sure that there's situations where you can be doing stuff. Ask questions. What keeps you going as an educator? What can I be doing right now to put my name out there? What piece of advice would you give for someone who's now getting into the teaching profession? And figure out what they say. Or not figure out what they say, do what they say. One other thing. Recreation League. Helped organize baseball lessons in the summertime. Served as an umpire for several 12U baseball games coordinated with parent coaches and organized end of the year or end of the summer baseball water park day. I don't know. But look at this field experience, which again, you could have by the time of sophomore. I've got a middle school, I've got a high school, I've got an elementary, and I've got sports. Always put sports last because unfortunately there are a lot of teachers that want to get into teaching because they want to serve as a coach, and that's fine, that's great, but make that your last priority. And look, I have a middle school, I have a high school, and elementary. I don't want to teach elementary kids. I knew I didn't want to teach elementary kids, but they're going to see that you took time to go out of your way and get into all three types of settings. A middle school, which is where I wanted to teach, a high school, which is where I also wanted to teach, and then an elementary and a rec league. Always make sure you have something about special education in here too. Do I have anything in here? I don't. Okay, at Jackson High School, I did this in Blissfield, Middlefield. Met with special education coordinator to better understand the role special education plays in schools. That's fine. Make sure you have a little bit of everything. There is a tendency, and I also understand this because when I was getting out into different schools, I wanted to just kind of go back to what I knew, and I wanted to get observation hours at Pettisville, which is where I went to school because I knew the teachers. But if I'm doing that, I'm doing a disservice to myself because I'm not seeing the whole world of education. I'm only seeing where I want to go, and where I want to go isn't what I need to see. So do these things. If you're special, so your college professors aren't making you get into different areas, get into different areas. Field's most of my field experience. So, okay. And then what you need to do is include other stuff that you've done in college. So I'm going to put, let's go back to, what does it want? Education, field experience. Oh, do you have any work experience? Yeah, that's another good one. Put down what you've done. So while I was at Siena, I was a writing center tutor. My minor was in English, so that helped. Lots of times people put years for when they did things too. I didn't put it in here, but they put like Blissfield, Michigan, September 2011, but that's just taking away more space. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Met with students who required additional assistance writing collegiate papers ranging from 100 to 400 level courses. And before that, I was a tech aide at my Pettisville High School, actually. They don't really need to know anything from high school unless it was a job that you had. Don't tell me about the year you graduated from Pettisville, or don't tell me that. But this was a job that I had, so I'm going to put down. And what did I do? No, why's the bullet not coming over? Helped clean computers, technical at the end of the school year. So those are two jobs that I had. And then I'm running out of space, so I'm going to get rid of just some of these items up here because the other item that you really, really need on your resume is going to be references. And I have pretty strong opinions about who I think should be your references. So a reference is going to be somebody that can speak on your behalf, and they say, hey, I applied for this position, so-and-so can vouch for me. So I'm going to put Peter McDay, social studies teacher, Blissfield Oof. So let's just say teacher, I'm going to put 6th grade. And then I'm going to put down his contact information. So his number. That's not his phone number. I'm going to then put down another teacher. By the way, you need to also ask the Peter McDay if he'll be your reference. It's someone that they will. I'm also going to put down his email. Whatever. I'm making this up. I've had lots of people that, like, they just assume that this person will be a resume. So I've had one person call me one time. They're like, hey, can you serve as a reference for so-and-so? I'm like, what? I didn't even know they asked me. Kevin McRady. So I did my student teaching at Blissfield, Michigan. So these were the teachers that I really got to know that I knew could speak on my behalf. So I'm okay putting all of them down because, in fact, they know me better than almost anybody else because they've seen me teach every day. I actually recommend for references only put teachers/principals. Don't put college professors because college professors are not teachers. That was the advice that my college professor gave me. She said, don't put me because I haven't seen you in the classroom every day like these people have. And get a principal who can reference you and make good comments. And that means you, again, just have to get out of your way and meet these people because they will be able to speak on your behalf. So there's a turned out resume. Did it in like 20-ish minutes, I think. I have no idea. But again, it's got this objective, which I'm going to come back and I'm going to continue as an educator to think, what is my objective? What's my moment? Your education, let the field experience be a motivating factor so that by the time you are a senior in college, you have lots of field experience that you can write down. Certain courses will just require you to go out and get 10 hours in an elementary classroom, 20 in a middle school. But I'm saying don't do it for the class, do it for you. Do the hard things. Interview the principal. Even if they don't have a job opening, principals amongst other school districts talk with one another, and so they'll be able to vouch for certain candidates. So maybe there's not going to be a position at Blissfield Middle School when I graduate, but there's going to be a position at Tecumseh Middle School, and the Blissfield principal knows the Tecumseh teacher, so I have good experiences with these individuals. Go out of your way, make yourself stand out. If you just sit back in classrooms, it's not going to be effective for you. And so this should really motivate you to enhance your field experience when you are taking part in other activities as the year goes by. So yeah, that's why we make these resumes as a freshman. They should change, they should develop over time. This is a resume, it's one page, it's unique to me, captures who I am on paper. I'm going to work more on this one. And it should motivate you and it should change with time. And then we will have I'll make another video that talks about how to write a cover letter, because that should also be one page, and I will show you the mistake that a lot of people write when they have a cover letter and when they write a resume, because it should contain actually really nothing from the resume. It should be something completely different. And yeah, we'll do that when we make that video. So yeah, I put this face camera on because I think it captures hopefully sometimes the emotions when I'm like, make sure that you do the hard thing. Go meet the principal. Do it. Okay. Cool. Have a good evening, everyone, or whatever it is time when you're watching this. My dog didn't bark once. Yay.